All right, we just got the first, I believe this is the first top 16 overall seeds. This is something they do every Saturday where they will release their updated top 16 seeds as we get later into the season. And I just wanted to react to all of these. And then how does this compare to the KenPom, to the TRank, in terms of some of the teams that the analytics like more than the committee due to maybe some unfortunate losses and stuff like that. So we're just going to look first at the number one overall seeds. Right now, Alabama, Houston, Purdue, and Kansas. No surprises here. Alabama, they've got that one SEC loss. They're still very good on offense and defense. They play with the highest tempo out of any team in college basketball, or last time I checked, they were at the highest. I believe at least they're top 5. Houston is virtually the complete opposite. But, it's hard to really gauge on a team like Houston because they play in a conference where you're going to be distinct favorites in basically every one of your games. But I've been a big believer in Houston. Their offense isn't the best, but their overall offensive efficiency is still elite. It's just there's such a slow tempo, a lot of low-scoring games. Purdue at number 3, they're very shaky. This Purdue team, it is so important if they want to make a run to at least the Elite 8, they've got to get a number 1 seed. They need that free bye in the first round, and then the second round you're facing an 8 or a 9. So Purdue, the loss to Maryland, just for example on Purdue, they were ranked number 3 in the country. They were facing an unranked Maryland team. They were 1-point underdogs. So they have a really good record, but Vegas does not believe in them. The analytics have had Purdue at 6th or 7th basically the past 4 weeks now, but they have run up a really good record in the Big Ten. Now, some of the speculation on that is because the Big Ten is a lot weaker this year. It's not terrible by any stretch, but it is weaker. There's no real elite teams outside of Purdue. And then Kansas as the 4th 1 seed. They've been playing better lately, and they've kind of taken that final number 1 seed right now when you look at the bracket matrix and other things. Of course, this could all change depending on what happens today as I'm recording this. There's a lot of games going on and stuff like that. But the number 2 seeds currently, or the 5 through 8 overall, you have Texas, Arizona, Baylor, and UCLA. So Arizona, really, really impressive win, I think, on Thursday night against Utah. Utah is loved by the analytical people. They're like a top 40 team, and Arizona just crushed them. But both Arizona and UCLA running up really good records in that weak Pac-12 conference, which may only have 3 or 4 teams in the tournament. Really bad. The Pac-12 needs Gonzaga. They somehow got to get them to join. Kansas as the number 1 on the 2 line. Or excuse me, that's Texas. Texas number 1 on the 2 line. The analytics don't love Texas. They play a lot of close games. The interim head coach, he's been doing well. But Texas is a team I'm a little bit wary on when it comes to making a run in the tournament as a 2 seed. And then Baylor, they've been just such a great basketball program. Even earlier this year, struggling a little bit and completely righting the ship. They're on the 2 line. They play in a very hard conference, and they have been on a roll recently. Looking at the current 3 seeds, it is Tennessee. Kind of surprising. Very surprising when you look at the actual metrics on Tennessee. But they play a game today. I don't want to say anything because they might lose, but I think they're at Kentucky right now, and they're like 1-point favorites, so that's a huge game for Tennessee. If they win that game, you have to figure they're going to be bumped up to a 2 seed. They probably already should be there. They beat Alabama last Saturday. They are the best 3 seed. Virginia as a 3 seed as well. Very hard to gauge Virginia. They're just methodical. They play good defense. The issue with Virginia is if they face a team in the tournament that's making a bunch of shots they're not supposed to make, Virginia's just not going to be able to match that offensively. Iowa State and then Kansas State. So 2 more teams from the Big 12 there, rounding out the top 12. The Big 12, very good this season. And then the 4 seeds, Indiana, the best 4 seed, Marquette, Gonzaga, Gonzaga is probably Gonzaga has a crazy offense and a bad defense. I love watching Gonzaga. And then Xavier as the final overall ranked team. You can just see the overall brackets there, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or just the overall seed list. And then this is kind of where each team would be slotted. So Alabama gets Indiana. Honestly, well, Indiana's very beatable. They've got a very good true freshman and then a veteran, center, Trace Jackson Davis. And then Baylor matches with Virginia. I'd be very happy if that was the draw, if I was a Baylor fan. Houston and Xavier. Texas and Tennessee. I'd be pissed off if I was a Texas fan. Kansas, Gonzaga. Gonzaga's just, it's all offense. They play games. I think the over-under for their game today is 165. Arizona, Kansas State, Purdue and Marquette, and then UCLA and Iowa State. If I was Marquette matching up with Purdue, if I was in their region, I would be pretty happy. And then this is the overall KenPom top 16. So they have Houston as the clear number one overall team. If you look at the adjusted efficiency, Houston about 2.5 points better than Alabama, who is number 2. UCLA coming in at 3. So the UCLA thing, the thing is UCLA blows a lot of teams out. The analytics are going to love that. But the reason the committee and the people that are ranking them have them a bit lower is just the lack of impressive wins. That's the problem. Tennessee at number 4, so it's pretty remarkable that they have Tennessee as I guess because they have 6 losses. I understand it. How about UConn at number 5? They're not even inside the top 16, and it's due to the 7 losses. Normally that means UConn's had a lot of tough luck, hard-fought losses at the end of games, to where if they just had a little bit better luck, they might have 22 wins and be like a 1 seed. Purdue at number 6. It is crazy that UConn is in front of Purdue in the analytics. Kansas at number 7. St. Mary's, they've always been up there. They're at number 8. They had a few close losses earlier in the season that is kind of keeping them down in terms of the AP poll and in terms of seeding and stuff like that. You've got Texas at number 9. They're 20-6. That surprises me that they rank Texas as the first 2 seed with 6 losses. And then Baylor also at 20-6. Baylor now with the best offense. I don't buy that, but it says Baylor has the best offensive efficiency in college basketball. The other big thing to note when you're filling out March Madness brackets, it's very important for your national championship winner. Preferably, you want them inside of the top 10 in both offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency. Worst case, top 15. So like Houston is 4-7. That's very good. Alabama 15-4. UCLA, they have the number 2 defense, number 24 offense. Like Tennessee, it might be a little bit tough. 55 on offense. They have the best defense, but you want to see both of those metrics at least inside the top 25, preferably inside the top 15 or top 10. Arizona at number 11. Creighton at number 12. They had all those early season losses. They've gone on a run in the Big East. Marquette at number 13. Gonzaga, great offense, bad defense. They're at 14. Iowa State coming in at 15. And then Maryland, really propped up by that impressive win over Purdue at home where they completely controlled it. They have vaulted up to number 16 there. And then this is the TRank overall analytics. Once again, they have Houston as the number 1 overall team in front of Alabama. Not that big of a gap, though. Looks like just a little bit over half a point there with Tennessee as the number 3 overall team. You can see Alabama is facing Georgia today. I would expect a very easy win against Georgia. Tennessee at Kentucky is going to be a close game, or at least it should be. UCLA gets Cal at home. I mean, Cal's like they're worse than MAC teams. Cal's ranked 253rd. St. Mary's gets BYU at home. That's crazy. St. Mary's is number 5 on TRank. Purdue at number 6. They're off today. UConn is facing Seton Hall right now. I think they were winning the last time I checked. Arizona facing Colorado. Should be an easy win for Arizona. Baylor at Kansas. That's a huge game. San Diego State coming in at number 10 on this list. Yeah, San Diego State's an underrated team. If they're a 6 or a 7 seed, I could see them upsetting a 4 or a 5 if they get matched up in the second round. You've got Kansas. How about San Diego State in front of Kansas? I mean, listen, if Kansas beats Baylor today, I'm sure Kansas is probably going to vault up to like number 6 or number 7 on this list minimum. But it just depends how well they win, like how well they control the game. Creighton at number 12. Gonzaga at 13, and they have Gonzaga as the number 1 overall offense, the 95th best defense. Iowa State at 14. Texas, they get Oklahoma at home, and then Marquette is off. So Iowa State faces Kansas State. That'll be a huge game for the Big 12. Gonzaga gets Pepperdine. That'll be a high-scoring game. Creighton gets St. John's on the road. So, we will see what happens with all of this, but I think the general takeaways is, the analytics are a little bit down on teams like Kansas, teams like Purdue, even a team like Texas. I mean, Texas is not even inside the top 16 of the TRank, whether you agree with that or not, And then teams that they love, it's St. Mary's, it's Tennessee, San Diego State, UConn, Creighton. Those are teams that they're going to like a little bit more because they view some of their losses as fluke, closer losses, and they've had more dominant wins than some of these other teams. But either way, that's just kind of the recent update. I also saw this, which was a pretty crazy thing. You look at the preseason versus the current. North Carolina, number one preseason team, and really by like the third week of the season, we knew they were not very good, but now they might not even make the tournament as a preseason AP number one. That's got to be a record or something. Kentucky getting Oscar Tshiebwe back, that was a huge thing. They're now unranked, but they've been playing better, and they have a huge game today. And then Duke was number 7 overall. They had that crazy freshman class. And, I mean, you're just seeing more and more, like, Duke, Kentucky, North Carolina, relying on these true freshmen. It's not a recipe for success. It's just miserable. Like, you keep having these one-and-done guys. There's no chemistry there. I guess you could say, well, we're putting players in the NBA. Look at all the stars we have in the NBA. But at what point? I mean, I guess you want the best talent overall, but it's just got to be annoying to be a fan of some of these teams and dealing with these true freshmen over and over and over, make the same mistakes and then leave. And then the next one comes in and they make the same mistakes. But, I know North Carolina, all these teams have had a lot of success with the whole one-and-done thing, and now it's getting to the point where these kids don't even want to play college basketball. They want to go to the frickin' G League or Overtime Elite or whatever it is, but that is just kind of a crazy thing that I saw there. But that's going to do it for this update, the March Madness release of the top 16 overall seeds as it stands today.